Hello, Mavericks, and welcome to today's currency recap. It is Valentine's Day, Wednesday, February 14th. Okay, so today we'll be doing, as always, a review of the trading day. We'll be taking a look at what's been going on in the broader equity markets, taking a look at some commodities too. We'll be doing some technical analysis on a major indice like the S&P 500. We'll be taking a look at our currency baskets, of course, and see if there's any major news on the back half of the week. And then we're going to wrap things up by taking a look at some potential trading setups. Let's get right into it. In this currency recap, we will be using some advanced technical analysis. We believe technical analysis is the fundamental skill of every profitable Forex and crypto trader. Maverick Currencies is currently hiring serious technical traders for a trader position. Traders will trade firm capital and keep 70 to 80% of the profits. So if you're a technical trader with a technically based trading system, we would love to meet you. So please click the application link in the description below this video. All right, now let's break down today's market action. Starting things off with some market analysis. All right, so the big news really is that stocks have recovered from most of Tuesday's sell-off. Tuesday's sell-off looked really ugly, and today, we have not looked back. We've rallied off the lows very strongly. Crypto also remains very strong, and the dollar somewhat steady. It did pull back a little bit, but we haven't breached any major technical levels to the downside, as you'll see when we look at our dollar basket. So today, yep, crypto up strong, equities up strong as well. S&P up almost 1%. Gold more or less flat on the day. Oil slightly down as well, down over 1.5%. Not surprising given that we had such a fierce move to the upside over the last couple days. All right, now looking at fiat currencies. The Aussie, big winner on the day, and the pound, the biggest loser on the day, and everything else was kind of going nowhere. So the Kiwi also up a little bit, the Loonie pretty much flat, the Euro flat, Swissy more or less flat, dollar down slightly, and the yen also more or less flat. So not a lot of movement in the currency world today. Crypto, however, everything up. Bitcoin, Ethereum leading the way. Bitcoin Cash also up nicely, and Litecoin up nearly 1%. So as we take a look at our chart here of the S&P 500, we're still at a +3. We're still above both moving averages. The slope is decidedly positive, and you can see how Tuesday's sell-off formed this nice doji candle almost right on top of that 20-period moving average. So hindsight, it's looking like a textbook pullback. We'd really have to get below Tuesday's low to really put this incredible rally in some jeopardy. So the rally is going to end at some point, but until our mechanical scoring system says otherwise, we're going to stick with what we see here. Moving on now to news. So right now, we've got a lot of news to end off the week. Of course, the headline news from earlier in the week was that CPI reading coming in above expectations. And today in Great Britain, they had their CPI, or in the UK, they had their CPI come in slightly below expectations. But we have some news out of Australia this evening. So we're going to see some employment data out of Australia. And then tomorrow we're going to see some GDP data come out early in the morning. So just before the London session really gets underway. And then at 8:30 a.m., we're going to have a slew of data out of the US. So we'll have core retail sales, and unemployment claims, as well as the Empire State Manufacturing Index. So we're going to talk more about the news to end off the week in tomorrow's currency recap, but that's just to give you guys a little bit of a heads up in terms of what to expect over the next 24 hours or so. So as we move now into some currency analysis, the velocity scores are interesting. We've got the Aussie at a +2. We've got the yen at a -3. The pound and the Swissy at a -2. The Loonie at a -1. Kiwi and the Euro at a 0. And on the crypto side of things, Bitcoin Cash, Bitcoin, and Ether all at +2, and Litecoin at a -2. So now let's take a look as we hop over to TradingView and see exactly what might be going on here, and see if we can't look at pairing some relatively strong currencies against some relatively weak ones. So the yen coming down now to this prior low. If we take this low out convincingly, then we have a lot more downside to consider. But selling into this low is a little bit tricky for me. So I'd really like to see us break below this low, pull back into it, and then we can look for trend continuation trades. Okay, so the dollar. Yes, we've pulled back today, but we really have to get below the low from February 7th, in my opinion, before this rally is in true jeopardy. For what it's worth, I do think the dollar will soften fairly soon. I think this rally is probably counter trend. Now, we don't have to forecast that far out, but I do see us trading within this nice parallel channel. We've done a really nice Fibonacci retracement here. You can see how we're flirting right with that 61.8% retracement level. So I'm personally not interested in trading the dollar short until we break below that Feb 7th key level. But if we make any more trend continuation patterns, for example, if we just base sideways here, then that could set us up for a nice trade to the upside. The Swissy is looking to break this lower boundary line of this parallel channel. If I zoom out a little bit, I do see some support down here. So it is possible that we have a little bit lower to trade, and the Swissy is not yet fully oversold. So there could be some room to play the Swiss franc still on the short side. Okay, so the euro has just really gone nowhere since pretty much the end of January. We've largely traded sideways. I don't see that changing anytime soon. So as of right now, not much interest in the euro. And the pound is interesting. We've broken above this resistance area. We briefly broke below it. We're above it again, and we're now testing it, I think, to see if it's valid support. So the pound is kind of a mixed bag here. Let's see what the GDP numbers are as we head into early morning trading, in Thursday. And if that number is a surprise one way or the other, then I think we'll break the stalemate here. So I don't think the pound's setting up for I think the pound is setting up for something in the near future. It's just not quite ready to be traded right this second. All right, and then the loonie. So we ran into this resistance area, and we're now seeing some big long upper shadows on those candlesticks. There is a little bit of bearish divergence here as well. I've mentioned this before. I'm broadly bearish on the loonie. Just need to see this thing really start to roll over. If we can break below the support, pull back into it, that's when I'd look for my short setups in the loonie. So eyeing potential relative weakness there in the loonie. And the Aussie dollar, not really doing much of anything. Again, trading broadly sideways since the beginning of the month. We have to break out of this range in order for things to get interesting. And with the New Zealand dollar, it's not too dissimilar to the Aussie dollar. We're just going sideways for a little bit longer, but kind of the same thing. But because this range is a little bit wider relative to the range in the Aussie dollar, I think you could look potentially for shorts in the New Zealand dollar as we get to the height of the range, and look to buy the New Zealand dollar as we get to the low of the range. But it's not a trade I love. I really don't like trading ranges unless they're very wide, and this one's just somewhat wide, not very wide. I know that's a qualitative statement. So to sum things up, I just don't see a lot of action in the currency markets right now. I think patience is the name of the game. Look for those high impact news events to potentially spur some volatility in one direction or the other. But otherwise, I'm personally advising, I'm personally sitting in cash right now. I'm waiting for opportunities to deploy capital, but I'm not actively jumping in and out of the markets. So just make sure you filter this technical analysis through your own trading plans and make sure that it makes sense. Just remember, you don't have to take a trade for the sake of taking a trade. We really want to be taking high probability trades with good risk reward ratios, and I just don't see those setting up right now. Okay, so to wrap things up, very important, just play relative strength and weakness. That's what's going to determine whether your trade has juice in it, has energy in it. You don't want to enter a trade and then it just goes nowhere. And then you exit with frustration. And of course, by the time you exit, that's probably when the market is finally ready to take off. So just bide your time. We will have good trading conditions. We just don't have them right now. All right, traders, that's it for me. I'm also doing the currency recap tomorrow. So I'll see you tomorrow for another round. Bye for now.